Visiting Minami. This is Visiting Minami. This is the segment of the English Guide to Minami where I teach you all sorts of stuff varying from Japanese manners, things to watch out for in Minami, just general information that can be helpful when you're visiting the town. Today, I'll be teaching you all about chopsticks manners. These utensils have been used in East Asia for more than 3,000 years, and in Japan they are called hashi. You can also say ohashi if you want to be more polite. There's a lot of rules for what not to do. They're mostly self-explanatory, but there are some that are a little more hard to figure out, and a lot of these bad manners date back to Buddhist practices that I find are pretty fascinating, so let me explain them and get right down to them. First, we have mayoi-bashi. Mayoi-bashi. This is when you wave your hashi over your food as you try to decide what to eat. In general, you should just not point at things or people with your hashi. Very rude. Second one is called sakasabashi. Sakasabashi. When you eat a family-style meal and you grab something from the communal dish by flipping over your chopsticks and using the side your hand touches. This is something I see a lot of Japanese people doing as well, but it's actually considered rude, and I can't imagine your hands having any less bacteria than your mouth. So it's kind of gross. Don't do it. Sakasabashi. Next is yosebashi. This is when you pull the plate or bowl towards you using your hashi. You should only bring a dish towards you by lifting it up with your hands and then bringing it towards you. Another thing that's considered bad manners is kosabashi. This is when you cross your hashi into an X. When you hold the hashi, the two sticks should always be parallel or in the shape of the letter V, and they should never cross to make the letter X. Although this is kind of hard to avoid when you're new to using chopsticks, but just try your best. Up next, tatebashi. Tatebashi. This is when you leave the hashi sticking upright in the food. If you want to put down your chopsticks, you should leave it lying horizontally on your plate or hashi holder. The reason this is considered bad manners actually comes from a Buddhist practice. So when someone dies but they aren't cremated yet, we offer rice to the deceased by scooping a big mound of rice into a bowl and stabbing a pair of ohashi into the rice. And this is supposed to represent the deceased's final meal in this realm before they go on to the afterlife. So don't do it at the dining table because it can mean death. This is tatebashi. The last bad manner for chopsticks I want to mention is hashiwatashi. Hashiwatashi. So when you pass food from one hashi directly to another pair of chopsticks. So this is another one with those Buddhist implications. When families get together when someone is cremated, and when that body is cremated, all that is left from the corpse is the skeleton. So one family member will start by picking up a bone with their hashi, and then they pass that piece of bone to the next person in line who will grab it directly with their hashi. And this will continue until the last person in line gets the bone and puts it in a specialized urn for skeletal remains. And this act represents the deceased moving on to the afterlife. And this is the only time where something can be directly passed from one hashi to another. So it's very rude to do it when everyone is trying to enjoy a meal. And these last two ohashi manners that I mentioned, the tatebashi and hashiwatashi, both come from Buddhist practices. And this actually comes from a pun, or dajare. So hashi can mean chopsticks, but it can also mean bridge. And that's why in tatebashi and hashiwatashi, the chopsticks are used to represent a bridge into the afterlife. I hope you learned something new today in this segment of Visiting Minami. I know chopsticks are kind of tough to use at first, but once you get used to it, you can basically eliminate all other utensils and use your ohashi for everything. Thanks so much for listening. Talk to you later. Bye!